Ja Morant. Now, if you don't know who Ja Morant is, he is a professional basketball player, an amazing talent, right? He was compared to a lot of the elite and transcendental, I can't even say that word, stars that have come from the past. Like he was supposed to be a guy who was supposed to have a legacy, maybe like LeBron, maybe like Kobe. They don't know, but he was a generational talent. But he's gotten himself into put himself in bad situations just because of his own actions. So you see that is Ja Morant right there. It says Ja Morant suspended for team activities after second video circulates showing him flashing a gun. And so it says Memphis Grizzly guard Ja Morant has been suspended from team activity after an Instagram live video appearing to show him flashing a gun while in a vehicle with others circulated on social media Sunday, just 2 months after the athlete was suspended over a similar video. Man, that's tough. Now, like I said, Ja Morant is a generational talent. This brother is unbelievable on the basketball court, but the decisions that he's making off the basketball court are going to cost him, him being able to provide for his family, him being able to build a good reputation for himself, and just leave a lasting legacy. And so I want to get into this thing. It's a big thing that's going around in the culture of double-minded men. And so I was reading James 1 earlier about double-minded men. And so I want to pull that up onto the screen. Well, there it is. There it is. And so James 1, I'll start at verse 5 where it's highlighted. It says, "But if anyone is deficient in wisdom, he should ask God, who gives to all generously and without reprimand, and it will be given to him. But he must ask in faith without doubting." That's big. You got to ask him. You got to come humbly to the throne of grace and ask from a place of sincerity without doubting. For the one who doubts is like a wave of the sea, blown and tossed around by the wind. You're just a wave that comes and then you crash. And that's exactly what Ja Morant did. For that person must not suppose that he will receive anything from the Lord, since he is a double-minded individual, unstable in all his ways. And so right now, Ja's in a pickle, right? He did something stupid at the beginning. He went on an apology tour. He even had a big ESPN interview. I believe it was either ESPN or Fox, where he sat down with Jalen Rose and they went through and was his mindset, and he was going to get help. And I think he went to therapy or counseling. And obviously, he's not heeding to the wisdom that is presented in front of him. And a big part of that is the people that he surrounds himself by, his community. And that's another thing that I want to get into. But before I get into that, I want to get into some points that I have regarding this. Oops, not those points. Wrong show. Here we go. So here are the points that I have regarding Ja Morant. So first point, don't allow your heart to be hardened because you reject wisdom. And so if we go back to the James 1 verse that we were just looking at, or verses that we were looking at, it says that you have to come, humbly to the throne of grace, right? So you have to come to God generously without reprimand. You have to come with faith without doubting, because if you're coming with doubts, if you're coming, just like, if God does it, he does it. If you don't have, this full submission to God, knowing that his will, submitting to his will and letting that transform you for the better, then you won't be able to walk in wisdom, because it says you are double-minded, you're unstable in all of your ways. And so now back to what I say here is because you rejected the wisdom. Now your heart is becoming hardened, much like Pharaoh's heart was hardened, because Moses was a messenger sent by God to tell him, hey, like all these things are going to happen if you don't listen to me. It's like, you better take this wisdom. And Pharaoh's like, nah. And since he rejected it, the result is God hardening his heart. All right, second point that I have. Second point I have is, if you are around dull people, you will get dull results, no matter how great your potential. Ja Morant, like I said, generational talent. Like, he is just an incredible athlete. And this is coming from a guy who's played sports all his life. I recognize, you know, good athleticism. When somebody's really good at their particular sport, I'm just like in awe because I have lived and breathed sports the majority of my life. And so it's really a shame because when he was caught this last time, it was a result of his friend going on IG and he just happened to be in the video. Now, he shouldn't be, brandishing a gun or even riding around with a gun. He has no reason to. He's a guy who's reportedly grown up in a good household. He hasn't had anything, he didn't come from a hard background. He came from a good family, and now he's just trying to play the role of, I guess, a thug in a sense, and wanting to be cool. And you can see that in the way in his appearance and in his activity. So you have a guy who has all this potential, but the people that he is around are holding him back. And like we always say, as iron sharpens iron, so does another man sharpen the wits of another. That's Proverbs 27:17. And he obviously is around dull people, and so he is getting dull results. And so yeah, that's that's really what I want to convey to you guys is the people that you are around matter. And if you have young men who you are around, push this out to them, push this message out to them because they need to understand and they need to be able to learn from the people like Ja Morant that they look up to, whether it's an athlete that goes through something like this or a superstar, musician, celebrity, because a lot of young men look up to these people, and when they make mistakes, they need to learn how not to repeat these mistakes. But Ja Morant, much like people in the past, a lot of people have said he's doing the same thing as Gilbert Arenas back in the day. If anybody's familiar with that, these things keep happening because when we grow up, we think that, oh, we become so prideful. We think that, oh, we just got it all together. We become truly double minded. And so that reminded me of a clip. Actually, before I get to the first clip or the second clip I wanted to play, I want to play you this clip from Uncle Shannon. Shannon Sharp is a Fox Sports commentator, and he gives good takes on a lot of different things. And so this was his take on Ja Morant.
I said before, the best apology is change behavior. And when he was going through all this diatribe about what he learned about being away from the game, Skip, and how important it was to him, I say, I see better than I hear. I heard everything Ja said. Now moving forward, I'm going to see if the behavior meets what he said. And clear, right on. And so at this point in time, Skip, where I am, I'm not even upset at Ja. I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed. I'm not embarrassed. I'm mad. I'm upset. I'm disappointed. I'm disgusted by the people that defended him. Because that's what got us here. That's what got us here, Skip. Oh, man, Shannon, you hating on Ja. You were Uncle Tom, you Rucker, you Buck Davis. Skip, I need somebody to tell me the fascination he has with guns and feel that he needs to be on IG Live, that he needs to see people see him with that tool on him. What is that? Is that the only way you could listen to young boy, NBA young boy, Skip? Is that you got to have that stick and bob and weaving and bouncing?
I mean, yeah, Shannon hit it right on the head. He didn't learn from his mistakes. He repeated his mistakes. And why? Because he just thought he was above them, right? He was double-minded. He didn't want to submit to, what was best for him. That's even before you submit to the throne of grace to Jesus. People don't even want to submit to what's for them because they're so wrapped up in what they want to do into their carnal nature that it often backfires. Now that brings up another clip that I wanted to play for you. This is from Profitable Conversations where we're talking about who are your influences. And we were talking about this in regards to like your phone, but I think it relates to this conversation as well. And like I said, if you know young men who need this message, send it out to them because they need to be influenced by their community, their immediate community, i.e., their family members, more than they're being influenced by these celebrities. If they don't have good structural influence within their home or around within their neighborhood, within their tribe, then this is kind of the result. And the other thing is, I mean, from all accounts that I could find, Ja Morant had this, but he has gone off the beaten path, and the people that are around him aren't this. And so something has gone wrong to steer him off the path. But I want you to check this out really quick. The problem isn't that there's influencers online. The problem is that the greater influencers aren't in the household, which is that's the biggest problem. It's like, do you have somebody in your immediate circle, in your immediate community that you can look up to? Or because if you have somebody you can look up to who is worth their salt and who is, raising you to become an outstanding citizen, then they're going to tell you not to do this all day,
Exactly.
to where you're not going to be strictly influenced
Yep.
by, the influencers online.
why I love my
and you'll
mom.
be more influenced, by your mom, by your dad, your grandparents, the people who are in your immediate family or, right outside. So, like, we just went to my neighbor, so Natalie's dad, retired
Natalie.
on Saturday. And we went to, and there we consider them family. And it's because they've been our neighbor since I was 8.
Oh wow.
And so, so that's why she's basically my god sister, and like her dad's basically like another dad to me. And so that's that's what community is all about. It's like the people who are around you. And I can say that about a few other neighbors too. All right, so we are back. Make sure that this isn't Faith and Beyond. We forgot to change that. Make sure you like for the algorithm though. And so you saw there that when you are surrounded by a community of people that you can rely on and that you trust, then you are able to truly thrive. When you're not around dull people, right, then you won't get dull results. You'll be sharpened because you're around people who are made up of iron, who are chasing after, the greater, the best versions of what they could be, which is found through chasing Christ, through the word. And so last thing that I want to leave you with here is in regards to this segment is Proverbs 13:10 right here. It says, by insolence the empty-headed person makes strife, but wisdom is with those who take advice. And so the people who adhere and who have people who can give them sound advice and they take it, they will be better off. But the people who are empty-headed, they bring strife among themselves, much like Ja Morant did.